We're here today, obviously talking about AI, Intel and Inawisdom. Intel's really fortunate. We work with a lot of companies around the world, all different sectors, all different parts of the world. These people are doing really wonderful stuff with AI, really transforming their businesses through healthcare, education, manufacturing. You name it, everyone's looking at AI. We get asked a lot of advice. One of the really common things we get asked is, how do I take this thing that I've built and how do I get it into production?
There's been a lot of focus on growing data science teams and creating data science capability, but some organizations have focused much less on the engineering disciplines to put those models into production and keep them trained and accurate and monitored.
So I think the perspective we often encourage customers to remember and keep going back to is, what is the absolute outcome that you're looking to drive from this machine learning investment? These things start as the spark of an idea, a little bit of data, some scientists working on capability. Can you actually do something? Can you derive a capability? But you've got to be thinking about, assuming you can develop that, how do you take that through to production? How do you expose that to more and more data from the production environment? How do you roll this out to the business? How do you put that capability in the hands of the people that are going to use the insight that comes from that capability?
One of my phrases that I've used too many times is that an ML model's for life, not just for Christmas. And I think there is a risk in the data science world of seeing the modeling as a kind of once and done activity. And in reality, the world is constantly shifting around the model. So you've got these various sources of model drift, and so you need to deal with those in your MLOps, your production settings. You need to be able to monitor and track the existence of drift, identify it, and then automate your model retraining, or maybe bring a data scientist in, depending on the nature of the drift.
You're right. I think we see some best practice from customers where they'll deploy a capability, get it to a point where it really does what they need it to do, and then the job really becomes about refining that. Look at the technologies that have become available. Can you make tweaks and enhancements?
A classic anti-pattern I would see is a data science team have matured over a year or two, built some great models, but essentially they're now looking after those in production in a relatively kind of ad hoc, kind of not very formal way. And it's gone from kind of like one model to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and it's becoming a very painful, unsustainable process. Another key thing to do is to sort of set ourselves up for recognizing that this will iterate over time. So the reason that we make that investment in automation is because there will be changes to the data and changes to the business need, which means we want to go around that cycle over and over again and in a very fast way.
Tell me a bit about how that looks from a platform perspective. How did you actually package that up and deploy it, do it in such a way that you've got that confidence in the ability to scale and get the results on an ongoing basis? What does that look like?
It's a combination of our services, our skills, and our delivery on the MLOps side, but that's totally underpinned by using the Amazon services, which is totally underpinned by the kind of Intel compute capabilities that we need to leverage.
Great. Yeah, it sounds like, I think that's the magic combination, right? You got the expertise from Inawisdom that understand the data and how all those things come together. You've got the scalability and the reach of the Amazon platform, kind of all underpinned by the core technology from Intel, which, as you say, drives all that price performance options and gives you that flexibility and that scalability. And I know you've got some good examples of where you've done this with customers. I know there was one recently, a logistics company, that perhaps you want to talk us through.
We initially started working on a specific business challenge and data science problem or initiative, and then we've then grown out from that point and helped establish for our customer a mature data engineering, data ingestion process to support, and also an MLOps pipeline and automated deployment of models from through training, automated retraining, all the way through to live deployment with no service interruption. And now that customer has in the order of like more than 100 plus machine learning models running in production, and we're ingesting millions of rows of data a day and making hundreds of thousands of predictions a day, which are feeding directly into their customers' user experience.
Thanks for all the time, Robin. I think we've learned a lot, and hopefully people have found this interesting. For me, I think some of the key takeaways are, keep your eye on that end state, understand how deployment in the real world is going to look, how you're going to go from engineering through to production and putting stuff in the hands of people. Leverage the skills and experience of partners like Inawisdom, like Intel, like AWS. We're all here to help. And don't stand still. Don't consider the job done. Look to continuously improve, continuously update and add those new technologies as they come through.